Like and share this video if you found it useful. Do subscribe as it really does help this channel out. Once again, thanks for watching.
What we do here is go back.
Hey, what's up guys, Gave Productions here, and I'm just gonna go straight to the point. My Galaxy Watch 4 Classic has Burnin, and that's a pretty disappointing thing. Now in this video, I'm not really going to talk too much. I'm just gonna talk about my thoughts on the fact that my pretty new Galaxy Watch 4 here has Burnin, and then I'm gonna explain what Burnin is briefly, and maybe how you can prevent and mitigate or maybe just lower your chances of getting Burnin on any device, whether it's your OLED TV, your OLED Switch, your OLED watch, or your OLED phone. Then I think I'll wrap it up with some of my thoughts, updated thoughts on the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic. So let's get right into it. As I mentioned, my Galaxy Watch 4 has Burnin, and I'm not sure if you can really see on camera, but it's a bit hard to see, but if you look at the edges of some of the apps, you can more or less sort of see some traces of the watch face through the app. So on the weather app, for example, you can see that on the outer ring here, you can actually see traces of the the hour hands, and if I slide the widget across, you can actually see traces of the watch face. If I drag down from the notification tray, you can actually see the watch face behind the notification tray. And if it's even more evident if I just decided to change watch face to maybe this digital one over here. As you can see from this digital watch face, there is in this calendar area over here, you can see there's a remnant one. And if I browse through the different widgets, you can sort of see remnants of the old watch face. And if I again scroll down the notification tray, you can again see pretty much the whole old watch face behind the notification tray. So my watch evidently has Burnin. So as we could see, the Burnin on my watch is it's not great. It's quite evident throughout most of the apps. If I go to Spotify, for example, you can again, it's a bit hard to see on camera because it is pretty dim, but you can sort of see it even on the Spotify app. You can see it on pretty much any app really. If I go to maybe the settings app, it's a bit hard to see. Oh, but if I go onto this gray background over here, I'm not sure if the camera can really pick it up, but there are remnants of the old watch face up here on the notifications. You can see the remnants of the old watch face even in the settings app. So clearly I am pretty disappointed by the fact that my watch has Burnin. Is only a few months old, and I didn't set it to that bright. The always on display is obviously, I just turned it off here, but I have set it on for since I started using this watch. The brightness, as you can see, is set to just a bit past half. Again, I do live in Singapore, so it is pretty bright all year round, but it's still kind of weird because my Galaxy Watch Active 2 over here never experienced any form of Burnin whatsoever. If I scroll down the notification tray, you can see that there's no trace of Burnin, unlike my Galaxy Watch 4 Classic over here, where it's pretty obvious on the notification tray. So it is kind of weird how my few-year-old Galaxy Watch Active 2, albeit the fact that I must disclose that I have changed this Galaxy Watch Active 2 I think maybe twice, because there was build quality issues with this watch as well. But you know what, I think I'm gonna make a video on my history with build quality problems and having to send my devices in for repair, most of them being Samsung devices. So I will probably make a video on that, but this video is about the Galaxy Watch Active 4, not Active 4, the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic having Burnin. So I am pretty disappointed. The fact that this upgraded OLED panel with a higher resolution and supposedly much brighter display has burn-in, and you'd think that Samsung would have figured out this issue by now. It's been so many years since they've been using OLED panels, and yet, this watch, which is supposed to be one of their, greatest watch yet, has burn-in. So clearly, I'm disappointed. Now I know some people in the comments may say that what if this is actually image retention and not burn-in? Well, I have left it for a few hours since I've noticed it having the burn-in, and actually, I realize now that this whole thing with the watch face behind the notification tray has been around for a few weeks now, and I just never really thought much about it. I thought it was just maybe a translucent feature, but the fact that now that I switched to a different watch face and it's still there, means it's burning. In fact, if I turn off the watch and I turn it on the boot screen, you actually see the watch face in the boot screen. I'll probably have that as a B-roll over this so that you guys can have a clearer look. So it is most likely burning. And why is that? Because image retention is actually temporary, which means that it should only last for a few hours. I'm not sure if they can last for days, but I'm pretty sure that image retention isn't that permanent and that it is pretty temporary. Burn-in, on the other hand, is permanent, and I'm no expert on burn-in, but burn-in is actually more like a burn-out, where the pixels, think of them as like candles, and every time they're on, they are slowly dwindling down in life. Now, I'm not an expert, like I said, and Linus from Linus Tech Tips did do a pretty good video on the subject, so I do recommend that you check it out to have a full understanding of what burn-in or burn-out is and what image retention is as well. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to refer to burn-out as burn-in and image retention as image retention. So it's very unlikely that my Galaxy Watch 4 over here has image retention, and it is likely OLED burn-in, and it is really the first device I had with burn-in. I've never had any trouble with any of my Samsung devices having burn-in in the past. So this is really a new experience for me. Now that I've explained what burn-in, image retention, and what all that is about, I'm gonna tell you a few tips as to how to mitigate and minimize the effects of burn-in. So burn-in typically happens, when you set a certain fixed image on your OLED screen for far too long. It does vary from panel to panel. So for this watch here, I'm not sure how many hours it was to cause the burn-in, but basically, if you leave a certain image on your OLED device for far too long, what will happen is that the image will end up burning into the display. I forgot to mention this. This video is ad hoc. I do not have a script written for this. These are just purely my thoughts coming out right now as I experience the fact that I have burn-in. So that's why it does seem a bit messy and not very structured. But bear with me. I think I'm almost towards the end of the video. Anyways, back to the video. So basically, a good way to prevent, mitigate, or lessen your chance of getting burn-in is to make sure that your display isn't on a certain image for far too long. Another way is to, of course, reduce the brightness of your display. So if you're using the AlwaysOn Display like me, if I'm not wrong, if you do decrease the brightness of the display to maybe level 1, the AlwaysOn Display will be a lot dimmer as well, and so this can actually help to reduce the risk of having burn-in on your watch. Now, the funny thing is that AlwaysOn Display is supposed to be a feature of the watch. It is something that you usually pay a premium for, as we can see in the Apple Watch SE and the Apple Watch Series 6. So if it is a premium feature that you pay for, you expect that you shouldn't have to run into any problems associated with the feature that you pretty much shell out more money for. And usually manufacturers do know that burn-in can occur, and so they tend to put safeguards on many of these OLED panels to prevent burn-in from occurring. What kind of safeguards are there? Well, for phones like this Galaxy Note 20 Ultra that I'm filming on, it also has an AlwaysOn display, and basically the AlwaysOn display, or the contents on the AlwaysOn display, like the time, the date, anything that's on the always on display, they do shift around periodically. That means, it may start off at the center, but it may move up, it may move a bit to the right, to the left. This is to prevent the image from staying on one spot of the screen for far too long. Even the fingerprint sensor, the fingerprint icon is actually shifting a bit every now and then, so that and not by a lot, but it is shifting around a certain area so that there is less risk of burning. So I'm a bit confused as to why the watch maybe didn't have this feature. I would think that Samsung would have pretty much thought about it, especially the fact that the watch is something that always on display is very important to kind of make it feel like a real watch, and that most people, I think at least, would want to use the always on display so that it feels like a real watch, and it doesn't really take up too much battery in my experience. For a full day from like maybe 9 in the morning all the way to 11 at night, I still get to reach home at about maybe 30 to 40%, and I charge my watch every day, so it really isn't a problem for me. And that's with the brightness set to just a bit over half and on that old watch face, so it isn't a problem to me. But obviously it's caused burn-in, and again, I have done that with my Galaxy Watch Active 2 at the same, well, at least on the same level of brightness in terms of just a bit over half, as you can see over here. Even though the display may not be as bright, I'm not so sure. Yeah, it does look dimmer in terms of the always on display. But even so, I've not experienced burn-in on this watch ever, even after a year of usage with my first Galaxy Watch Active 2. So it is interesting that just after a few months, my Watch Classic 4 over here has actually, ended up burning in, which is, it really is kind of unfortunate. Alright, so with all that out of the way, and how you could reduce the risk of having burn-in on your watch, on your phone, your OLED switch, which is basically not to leave it on for too long. And fun fact, this is actually, I recently got a new TV, or more like my parents bought a new TV. It's a Samsung QN90A, and it's not because I'm a Samsung shield or anything, but it's the fact that I still feel that I'm not really willing to risk getting an OLED TV, because there are still people getting burned in on their OLED TVs. In fact, Linus just experienced a small form of burnout on his own OLED TV / monitor, on over at the Linus Tech Tips channel. And but there are software built into these LG TVs to help reduce the effects of burn-in. So I don't think the Galaxy Watch 4 has this kind of software, but basically it's a testament to show that, to me, OLED panels for TVs, for example, are that ready. But Samsung did announce a new form of OLED called QD OLED for future TVs, so I will be interested to see how that evolves. But essentially, that is one of the big reasons why I got a Samsung QN90A, because I feel that they are some of the best QLED panels out there, and there is pretty much no way that they can burn in. They can have image retention, however, but again, that's temporary, and it'll probably go away pretty fast. But so far with my QN90A, I've experienced no form of burn-in, definitely not. No image retention. The only thing I can complain about it is the fact that it does have a bit of vignetting around the corners, but that's just an LCD thing. I'm sidetracking here, so back to the watch. I'll just give you a few leaving comments as to some of my updated thoughts on my Galaxy Watch 4 Classic here. If you want to watch the original review, it is on my channel. I'll link it up in the corner. But here are some of my updated thoughts on this watch, which is adding on to the original review. Should you get this watch? I mean, from personal experience, after what I've been through with this watch, I think that overall it is still a really great watch. But for someone like me who really uses the always on display, and it's a key feature of a smartwatch, if you're someone like me who really values the always on display, then no, stay away from this watch. if I got Burnin, you know, there's a high chance that you could as well, or it could be a one-off thing. I am sending this watch in for repair on Tuesday because all the appointments are booked up to Tuesday, so you know, on Tuesday I'll be able to send this watch in. And honestly, I'm a bit worried for that because again, I had bad experiences with, you know, customer service and repairs on my old Samsung devices. But again, that's another video for another day. So my overall thoughts on this watch is that they are pretty similar to the review. Overall, it is still pretty snappy, as you can see. You know, it's not sluggish. Samsung Pay still works pretty fast. Sometimes though, it does get an authentication error when I open Samsung Pay, which is very annoying because, you know, when you get to the gantry or when you want to tap in or tap out of the bus, if you get an authentication error, you're gonna have to, you know, go home and then open the app again. And it is not instantaneous. It still takes like, you know, 1 to 3 seconds. It varies. So, but it takes about 1 to 3 seconds to activate Samsung Pay. And so it you know, you could hold people back. And generally I noticed that Samsung Pay for tapping in and out of gantries or buses is slightly slower than using an EasyLink card. So that's interesting. But yeah, my overall thoughts, build quality is great in terms of, you know, the body of the watch. It is very solid stainless steel. The straps are holding up pretty well. I do not have any scratches on my, you know, metal body of the watch. There are just a few really small micro scratches on the screen, but that's to be expected because when your fingers move over the screen, they may have some abrasive material. Again, pretty snappy, but you know, the burn-in is just you can sort of see the burn-in you know, pretty much anywhere you go on this watch, and it is very distracting and it's very disappointing. You know, this isn't a cheap watch. It is cheaper than an Apple Watch, no doubt, but again, it's a few $100s. It's not cheap, and seeing how this is almost identical to the standard Galaxy Watch 4, it means that that watch is potentially susceptible to this problem as well. So at the end of the day, my thoughts on this watch are, you know, I have to speak from personal experience. Because of what I've experienced, I would say don't buy this watch. You know, maybe get a Fossil, a Garmin. You know, as of this time, if you really have to get a smartwatch, get something else. If you're an Apple Watch user, it's pretty straightforward. You get an Apple Watch SE or a Series 7. I think that's the latest series right now. I'm so sorry. Yeah, you know, and I haven't had any burn-in problems for Apple Watches at least. So if you got an Apple Watch, AlwaysOn Display should be pretty good. Yep, Android side, go for an Android Wear watch, go for a Garmin. You know, maybe if you're a Singaporean, get the National Steps Challenge Tracker. I don't know. Yep, overall, that's all I have to say for this video. I think, you know, after this video, I'm going to make one on my experience with customer service and repairs of, you know, my old Samsung devices. So yeah, that's going to be a very interesting video to make. Yep, but again, I hope this video wasn't too long. I'm looking at the timer for my recording right now, but I think once I edit it, it's going to be a bit shorter. Again, this was an ad hoc video, so I don't have a script for this. I just kind of said what I wanted to say. But all that being said, I will make an update video after I get this watch back from Samsung repair center. And yeah, I'll update the status of my watch there and then. Anyways, that's been it. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up. Do share and subscribe, as it will really help this channel out. Maybe leave down in the comments, you know, some of your experiences with OLED burn-in, which I hope you didn't have, but if you did, do share in the comments your experiences and maybe what you can do to help to mitigate the problems of burn-in as well. Maybe you can help some people in the comments down below. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.